Today, we re-journeying through time to uncover the extraordinary story of a nation that defied all odds. Singapore. How did a tiny island, once a simple fishing village, become one of the most prosperous and advanced countries on Earth? Let's find out. Our story begins long before the towering skyscrapers pierced the clouds. In the 14th century, this island was known as Temasek, which means sea town in Old Javanese. It was a humble but important trading post, a meeting point for sailors and merchants from across Asia, from the great empires of China and India to the surrounding Malay archipelago. Imagine the scene: wooden ships with colorful sails, bustling markets filled with exotic spices, silks, and pottery. This was the first hint of Singapore's destiny as a global crossroads. For centuries, Temasek's fortunes rose and fell with the shifting tides of regional power. It was part of various empires, including the Srivijaya and Majapahit, but its true transformation was yet to come. By the early 19th century, the island was mostly covered in jungle, home to just a few hundred indigenous people. It was a quiet, almost forgotten corner of the world. But that was all about to change, thanks to one ambitious man with a vision. In 1819, a British statesman named Sir Stamford Raffles sailed into the Singapore River. He was looking for a new trading base for the British East India Company to challenge the Dutch dominance in the region. What he saw in this swampy, overlooked island was pure potential. Its strategic location was perfect, sitting right at the mouth of the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. Raffles negotiated a treaty, and a modern trading settlement was born. The establishment of a free port was a stroke of genius. Unlike other ports that charged heavy taxes, Singapore welcomed all traders with open arms. This policy attracted merchants, laborers, and dreamers from all corners of the globe: Chinese, Indians, Malays, Arabs, and Europeans. All flocked to this new land of opportunity. The population exploded, growing from a few hundred to tens of thousands within just a few decades. Singapore was quickly becoming a vibrant, multicultural melting pot and a crown jewel of the British Empire. The city grew at a dizzying pace. Warehouses, shophouses, and grand colonial buildings began to line the riverbanks. The port became a critical hub for processing and shipping tin and rubber, two commodities that were fueling the Industrial Revolution in the West. This economic boom turned Singapore into one of the most important commercial centers in Asia. But this era of prosperity was about to face its darkest test. In December 1941, the world was engulfed in the flames of World War II. The Japanese Empire set its sights on Southeast Asia, and Singapore, known as the Gibraltar of the East, was considered an impregnable British fortress. But this belief was shattered. In a swift and brutal campaign, Japanese forces invaded Malaya and advanced south. On February 15, 1942, the unthinkable happened. Singapore fell. It was a humiliating defeat for the British and the beginning of a traumatic 3.5-year occupation. Life under Japanese rule, or Sianan II, as the island was renamed, was a period of immense suffering, fear, and scarcity. Food was rationed, atrocities were common, and the people lived under constant threat. This dark chapter, however, had an unexpected consequence. It shattered the myth of British invincibility and ignited a powerful desire for self-determination among the local population. When the British returned after the war in 1945, the calls for independence were louder than ever. The post-war years were a time of political awakening and turbulence. Singapore moved towards self-governance, and in 1959, the People's Action Party, led by a brilliant and determined young lawyer named Lee Kuan Yew, won a landslide victory. In 1963, Singapore merged with Malaya, Sarawak, and North Borneo to form the new nation of Malaysia. This union was seen by many as the logical path to security and prosperity. However, the merger was fraught with deep political and ideological differences. Tensions flared, leading to racial riots and a complete breakdown of trust between the state and federal governments. The dream of a unified Malaysia was crumbling. On August 9, 1965, the moment of truth arrived. Singapore was expelled from the Federation. It was suddenly an independent nation, against its will. A tearful Lee Kuan Yew announced the separation on television, A moment seared into the national memory. The future looked impossibly bleak. Here was a tiny island with no natural resources, no oil, no minerals, not even enough fresh water. It was surrounded by larger, potentially hostile neighbors. It faced internal threats from racial tensions and communist insurgencies. Many international observers gave Singapore little chance of survival. They predicted it would collapse into chaos, but they underestimated the sheer grit and resolve of its people and its leaders. Faced with an existential crisis, Singapore's government embarked on a radical and audacious plan for survival. The strategy was clear. If we have nothing, our people must become our greatest resource. The focus shifted to building a world-class education system to create a highly skilled workforce. At the same time, the government aggressively courted foreign investment, offering tax incentives, political stability, and a corruption-free environment to multinational corporations. The nation transformed into a giant construction site. Swamps were drained, hills were leveled, and public housing estates, known as HDB flats, were built to provide affordable, quality homes for the population. This not only solved the housing crisis, but also helped to integrate different ethnic communities, fostering a shared national identity. Industries like manufacturing, shipbuilding, and electronics were developed from scratch. The port was modernized and expanded, reinforcing its role as a global trade hub. The results were nothing short of miraculous. In just one generation, Singapore leaped from a third world to a first world nation. The economy boomed, and it became one of the 4 Asian tigers, renowned for its rapid industrialization and incredible growth rates. The standard of living soared, and Singapore became a model for developing countries around the world. It had not just survived, it had thrived beyond anyone's wildest imagination. Today, when you look at Singapore, you see a testament to that incredible journey. The skyline, dominated by architectural marvels like Marina Bay Sands and the gardens by the bay, is a symbol of its ambition and success. It's a global financial center, a tech innovation hub, and home to one of the busiest ports on the planet. Its streets are famously clean and safe, and its society is a harmonious blend of Chinese, Malay, Indian, and Eurasian cultures, each contributing to a unique Singaporean identity. The story of Singapore is more than just a history lesson. It's an inspiring saga of resilience, vision, and determination. It shows how a small nation, armed with unity and a relentless drive to succeed, can overcome impossible odds to carve out its own destiny. From a humble fishing village to a global powerhouse, Singapore truly is a little red dot that roared. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredible journey through Singapore's history. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories like it, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.